So hello all again and a very good afternoon, and myself Ekta Dubey. On behalf of the Branalytics team and our partner Compass AI, we welcome you all and thank you for being part of our webinar, Why CRM and Incentive Automation Are a Winning Combination. So before we start, I would just like to quickly highlight few guidelines and make you people aware of, requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking their session. Also, a few people have logged in through the gadgets or numbers, requesting you to please rename yourself because we will be sharing with you the entire video for your reference. So please rename yourself. That would be really helpful. There would be a Q&A session after each speaker, and where the attendees can ask the question to the respective speaker. The guidelines are you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself on your video, introduce yourself, and put your question to our thought leaders. Before we start, I'm very happy to introduce our partner, Compass AI. Now, to speak about them, Compass is a software that gamifies your incentive programs, integrate your CRM, pick one of your interactive game templates, and publish it in less than 10 minutes. So, no more spreadsheets. With easy to publish game templates, leaderboards, and analytics, Compass empowers your sales manager. With game-like elements, rewards, recognition, and complete access to relevant information, Compass motivates you on-the-ground sales force to do more. And the end result is highly energized organization with accelerated performance and sustained growth. Few words on why we are here today. We all know the heart and soul of any business is the relationship it shares with its customers. A business does whatever it takes to be relevant and viable for its customers because they know that their customers are their assets. And in today's time, creating a brand and ensuring loyalty is the most important goal. In this era, CRM is being equated to the voice of customer. These challenging times have illuminated why adopting a customer-centric mindset will be so critical as we work our way back to the world we knew once. And for this, I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Abhishek Kumar, the CEO and co-founder of Compass AI. To speak about him, he is an IIT Mumbai alumni and has over 15 years of experience in technology, e-commerce, big data analytics, and overall automation process from business to operation. And he is here with us today to share his interesting insights on transforming CRM, a blueprint for success. Over to you, Mr. Abhishek, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Over to you.
Thanks, Ekta. Thank you, everyone. Hi, this is Abhishek. I'm a founder at Compass AI. And today I'll be talking about more into the aspects of what are the automations that have been done in CRM and why incentive automation is must today. Because, while I speak about this, I'll be taking you through the journey of evolution of automations that have happened on CRMs, and what is the next leg of automation that we can do, and what is the next development technology enhancement that's happening on this side, right? So, Ekta, first of all, am I audible properly and visible?
Yes, you are, Abhishek. Yeah.
Sure. And Ekta, can you give me permission to share my screen? Oh, I already have, so that I can just share some of my,
Yes.
I would just want to present my screen. Please let me know if it is visible.
Yes, Abhishek, we can see.
All right. So today we'll talk more about what is the next leg in automation with CRM, and I'll also discuss more. We'll start with some of the automations that we have already done on the CRM side, and even before that, what is CRM automation, right? So just to start with, right, CRM automation is nothing but anything that you are automating as a repetitive task, manual task, to streamline your work, to save time, to improve productivity, and to create any workflows that can remove that slag into the function that counts as the automation, right? So automation of this entire CRM can happen across various departments, right? It can happen across marketing, it can happen across sales and service activities, it can happen across your customer support team, it can happen across your pre-sales team, right? There can be multiple aspects into this automation, right? why do we do this automation, right? So this is all about making the things easier to manage your everyday task, to limit your external interaction and focus more on the performance, focus more on the productivity, right? And moreover, if you see multiple CRMs and today tech landscape, right? More and more people are coming up with a lot of solutions which are AI enabled, ML enabled, right? And they are sitting on top of the CRMs and automating various tasks for for the companies who are using standard CRMs across the organizations, right? And this has actually made a lot of things and a lot of work simpler for the people, because it has taken bulk of their tasks, taken bulk of their resources and efforts which are not really performance oriented away from them, and have solve the problem using the tech AI and ML side, right? Now, if I have to give some of the examples of the automations that seen, right, and these are only the few ones that we know of, readily use it in day-to-day life in a business operation, right? So on the marketing side, if you see, and it's very popular with I think SaaS companies, and also some companies who are selling products more often, right? They run a lot of email drip campaigns, right? These are a way to run your campaigns to get capture leads, and these can be automated via your CRMs, right? So most of the modern CRMs enable you to do such things, right? What you can also do is you can automate reporting. So gone are the days where the managers would ask for the reports on a day-to-day basis, or maybe managers would compile the report and send it to the management, right? So those things now can be automated directly. It will save a lot of time and indirect performance with them, right? You can automate your KPI tracking for each and every individual of your team. It could be sales team, it could be customer support team, it could be any team that you're talking about, and you can have those numbers with the tracking numbers, performance numbers in the form of notification, in the form of nudge, right with your email, right in your box at any point of time, right? It is real time, and most often these are sent, these are triggered and sent every day, or even at a real time basis. You can also automate sending invoices. Most of the companies are doing this already. So if your lead has converted to an opportunity and you close the customer, you can automate sending invoices on a periodic basis if you're running by a subscription, or maybe you can just time it out and automate it the way you want. You can also send onboarding mails, welcome emails. You can automate those things. You can even do for a sales team, if let's say there are the leads are at various stages, you can automate the process where the lead gets auto assigned at various stages to different kind of teams, right? So if there's a lead for a product for different kind of products, if your products are different and there are different teams selling those products, you can automate this thing. If there's mail that is coming for this kind of product, then the lead gets auto assigned to those respective teams. Then, of course, the pipeline transitions that you can also automate based on the email reading and all that is enabled today from this CRM. Then, most important part is today we rely on multiple systems, right? So since we're talking about a tech era where everything is digital, you will be using you will be definitely using multiple systems, and hence you'll be generating a lot of data from different sources, right? So CRMs also enable you to exchange data with each other, right? So you can take data from other sources, or as part of CRM, you can release the data like from webhooks or API through APIs for other CRMs, other systems to consume and do your other stuff, right? You can also work into re-engagement program. You can automate efforts to get the customers whom you've lost at the checkout stages and all those stuff on your website. You can send them re-engagement automated mails and a lot of offers that you can design, and those all things can be automated. You can bucket your customers based on their traits, behaviors, and these could be sent. Then, of course, last but not the least, the task assignment. So the tasks that today, you need a Scrum Master or a manager to assign the tasks. Those could be automated, and you can save a lot of money, time, and resource at that point, right? So when we go through these examples, then the question comes to our mind is, what's next on this CRM automation, right? So one important thing that we have looked into, and this is the current landscape that we see on the marketing side, Salesforce automation side, service automation side. I'll share this PPT across with the audience after this. You can see we combined all of them together and put it in the system. So the next question comes to us is like, what is next? Like, what could be the next automation that will come to this, right? Well, the answer could be multiple areas. We can look into multiple things, but the most important thing that we have figured out or found out is one thing that we have missed over the period of time is like automating incentives, right? Which means uh, you know and all the teams, customer fronting teams, right? They all depend upon incentives, but we have yet missed to to automate their incentive calculation, incentive disbursals, and even if this calculation happens, the disbursal happens after a delay of maybe 30 days or 45 days, right? Which kind of acts like an anti-motivation, right? It does not really motivate your team, and there's a delay in what they're bound to receive, right? So what's next? So other automations are looked into, right? And we have seen the success rate into this, and the reason I said that this is must is because all your customer front-ending teams, right? Their performance is deeply linked with the incentives, right? The teams like your direct sales team, channel partners, gig workforce, collection teams, customer support, they heavily depend, their lives depend upon the incentive that they earn at the end of the month, quarter, whatever period you decide. And hence, it's a motivation factor as well for their performance, and also their performance is closely and deeply linked with the incentives that you're calculating. And hence, it is must to keep them motivated, to have this incentive automated via your CRMs or any other data sources that you're using, right? So, what can you do, right? One very easy ways to look at it is to use external systems which can integrate with your CRM, pull the data. Like I said, CRM are enabled to disperse the data to third party. So can we have a system which can just take the data from the CRM, enable you to create your incentive programs, and then distribute the incentives out of it, and then the people who are dependent upon the incentive can see their incentive number via and relate their performance on a day-to-day basis, or even minute-to-minute basis if they're a high-performing team over there, right? And you can deploy this team across to multiple type of teams, right? So it cannot be just for sales team or for channel team or for direct sales team. It has to have a omni-channel presence where you can see and use this product for multiple teams that are there in the organization to calculate your incentives, to automate the incentive programs, right? So we have looked into it and we have seen what are the three, basic problems that people face around it, right? Why is this incentive automation required? So we looked into it and we figured out that the three important factors that matters was are the mismatched incentive amounts, right? So like if I'm a sales guy and if I'm doing a number, if I'm punching a number in my CRM, right? That day itself, there's a number that comes and sits in my mind that because of this number, I tend to get this amount of incentive at the end of this month, right? But if you look at it, the organizations have various other parameters behind this, through which they calculate and they get to the number, which could be very different from what the number this guy has calculated. Which means there's an expectation mismatch, and then there's a factor of demotivation that comes into picture. Then there is, of course, since you're doing it manually, you are putting up the data, you are loading the data in the Excel, you are calculating entire stuff into Excel. There's chance that there are high chances that you will end up doing calculations 2 or 3 times, because you have to make sure that, because this is money, and you have to make sure that these numbers are correctly calculated and various other parameters have been taken into picture. And even after that, right, like I said initially, once you have calculated, once you have informed your team, it takes around 30 to 45 days to pass all the audits and get the numbers into, convert the numbers, incentive numbers into actual cash and to, disperse to the teams actually. And hence, if you combine all these 3 factors, right, this result into a kind of, requirement, which looks like, which is very important for the performance of your, teams, and hence performance of your, sales. It's very important to drive these people with the right kind of, product that can solve these challenges. So, we also looked into the way the traditional programs have been, running as of today. And we've seen that if we are able to digitize, and we have simply by digitizing most of the incentive program and making it a real time, we have seen that there is higher chances that you will have an increase in your sales number, you will have an increase in profitability, there will be lower churn of people, because believe it or not, when I was interviewing like 8 out of 10 people in the sales side, right? They gave me a reason that, I want to move out of this company because they did not process the incentive for me that I had calculated. This was the reason 80% of people gave me. And so this is one of the problem area that can be solved by using automation incentive programs like this, right? So we are talking about the product which we created, which is Compass AI, which can automate this incentive creation and bridge the gap together. How do we do this? It's very simple. So what we do is, we provide you a platform, an admin platform where we let you configure, design, and publish your programs. So you can first connect to any of the data sources. It could be CRM, it could be flat file, it could be Excel. Mostly CRM, that is what people use. And then you can just design the incentive program by drag and drop methods. And then you can add some game elements to this. So game elements are factor which tries to motivate the end teams by bringing the competition, by bringing the inquisitiveness into them, right? And by making the communication very easy for them. And then last but not the least, insight and payments. So the very important part of this entire automation is how are you knitting these all problems together, right? So are you able to furnish them with the data, and also let them take that number in terms of cash, in terms of maybe gift cards, or maybe anything that has a cash value or monetary value. Are you able to stitch it all together? And that is where Compass was born as a product, right? Which lets you configure, design, and publish your program, right? So what you can do today with Compass is you can integrate your CRM, then you can choose your program, incentive programs. There are templates available which works like a workflow that you automate with this, and then you can publish them on the either on the app or on the API side, so that people can see their performance, their incentives real time. So whenever they punch in the number, they immediately see the number that, okay, because you have done this, this is the kind of workflow, this is the kind of calculation that's happening, and this is the incentive that you're bound to earn. And hence, this solves a lot of problem for both the side, for the end user side and for the organization side, because it matches them together, right? And then we have seen that by adding some of the game elements like live scorecards and leaderboards, you tend to keep them stick together with the program, stick together with the company, right? They are more they find it less boring, because ultimately when you talk about numbers, when you talk about calculations, people on the other side, like sales people, think they think that it's a boring task, right? So just to make it interesting, just to make it fun, right? You can add more game elements to this, and you can also convert all the data disbursement that's happening on the mobile app in form of nudges, in form of AI based or AI and ML based nudges, which also act like coaching to them, right? So for example, if I'm a sales guy, if I'm getting a nudge saying that, hey, your incentive is this, and you can earn this much by doing this kind of number, then the next question to me would come, how? And that is where it will answer, because it will learn from other people what they're doing. It will nudge to you saying that, okay, this is how you can do it. So if you add these kind of elements on top of automation, this comes together as a bundle of complete solution, right? And then of course, as a part of automation, you can always add a lot of audit trails, logs, and you can keep a track of what your end users are doing, where they are clicking, where they are are they redeeming the points or not, or are they redeeming the incentives or not, are they converting the incentive to cash or not, or are they connecting, they are taking out incentive in the form of cash, or they're just leaving it. So to give you a complete performance metrics and insight into what is happening with the incentive program, or is the incentive program is able to convert into a meaningful sales number for you as an organization, everything can be done with this automation that we're looking at. So this was a quick snapshot I wanted to take you guys through into what an automation, incentive automation along with CRM can do, and how can it make an impact at an organization level. So this is it. I think I'm available at Abhishek at getcompass.ai for more queries and answering. Open to questions now. I think Ekta, too.
Yes. So thank you, Abhishek, for sharing your insights. If you have any questions with Abhishek, we'll be happy to take that. So yeah. I've already shared the guidelines with you. You need to raise your hands, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and put your concerned question to Abhishek. So if any questions, please raise your hands. Or also what we can do is we can keep the chat box engaging. I would encourage the questions to be coming here as well when the panel starts, so that we have Abhishek who can also share his thoughts on the chat box as well.
Sure.
So we'll wait for a while, Abhishek, for people if they have any question to get back to you on this.
Definitely.
If anyone directly wants to ask a question, please do that with Abhishek. Yeah. That's okay with us.
You can also ping in the chat bot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ekta, and thank you everyone for listening to me. And
no problem.
Over to you, Ekta.
Yes, thank you so much. So of course, Abhishek is still here. If you have any questions, please put that in the chat box and he would love to take it from there. Now moving to a very interesting panel discussion, which is on innovation in action. Technology paves the way to create value and drive growth. And I would first like to introduce our speakers. We have Mr. Satish Krishnan, Head CRM with Redbus, Mr. Atul Suri, Vice President and SBU Head with Alembic Pharmaceuticals Limited, Mr. Shakti Kumar Lika, VP and CMO with Trimus Cooling Solutions. We have Mr. Nizam Saifi, Director of Sales and Marketing, Prebook.com. And we have Mr. Ajish Kumar, AVP and Vertical Head Customer Service with Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. And with this wonderful panel, we have a wonderful moderator, Ms. Medini Mangala, VP Marketing with Compass Day AI. Over to you, Medini, to share your thoughts and interesting insights. Thank you everyone for being here today.
Thank you, Ekta. Hello and welcome everyone, and a very warm welcome to our entire panel. Also, thank you very much, Abhishek. Just for the rest of the attendees to know, in the chat, I have dropped in an ebook that we have curated specifically on this topic. So if anyone would like to know more, please feel free to go through that, download it. And as Abhishek said, he's also available at abhishek@getcompass.ai. So please write him to us. Now, very quickly, over to the panel. Let me introduce myself. My name is Medini Mangala, and I take care of marketing at Compass. We have a lovely panel of 6 with us. So let's very quickly do a round of introductions so we can dive into the topic. Ajesh, you want to start?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ajesh Kumar. As Ekta mentioned, I'm part of Bajaj Allianz General Insurance, where I take care of the customer care part. So when we talk about CRM, that is where we live the entire day in. So yeah, it's a good topic to be a part of, and looking forward for a great discussion today. Thank you.
Atul, over to you.
Yeah. The name's Atul Suri. I have a very interesting career path that's got me where I am. I'm currently the SBU head in Alembic, where I look after 6 business divisions, 3 in the gynecology therapy area and 3 in the cardiovascular and anti-diabetic therapy area. And why I said interesting is prior to this, I had a little stint as looking after the entire HR of Alembic. Prior to that, I was into L&D, and prior to that, for 23 years of commissioned service in the Indian Army, in the fighting forces of the Indian Cavalry. So that's what it is, and I'm looking forward to catching and cadging a lot of perspectives from co-panelists and offering my own considered view on today's topic. Thank you.
Awesome. Nizam, over to you.
Yeah. Hi all, this is Nizam Saifi from Prebook.com, Prebook India Private Limited. Currently, I'm heading the director of sales and marketing of my company with a handsome years of 60 years of experience working with Monster.com, Groupon India, and Tata Infomedia. So lovely to interact with everyone, with the co-panelists, and share the thought and brainstorm on that. welcome all once again.
Satish, very quickly.
Kindly bear for the noise. I'll try to see if I can relocate to another meeting room. Something happening on the road. So I'm Satish. I'm part of Redbus for more than a year now. Redbus is part of the Make My Trip group. I've been working as a CRM head for handling 6 geographies, India plus Southeast Asia and South America. It's been quite an honor to be part of this group, looking like how innovations can change the customer experience in a big manner. Looking forward for this great discussion.
I think,
Shakti, why did you take on?
Shakti.
Yes. I think we lost Medini, but she'll join. So, Mr. Shakti, please.
Hi, everyone. Hope I'm audible. So about me, I've got 24 years of corporate experience into sales and marketing. Then I've been an author of an Amazon bestseller book, Reimagine High Value Sales, which is an expert book on B2B selling. Now I run my own venture, which is into innovation, which is what Timmers is, Timmers Cooling Solution, where I'm the global CMO and the VP for Asia Pac and Middle East and Africa. So we are trying to solve the energy problem, if you may call it. It's a really sustainable world we want to create. So this solution, if it works out and becomes the way which we are looking at, will solve the energy problem for data centers. Because they are the largest energy consumers, and we can bring 80% fall in the cooling load for data center market with the disruption which we are trying to do. That's about me. Thank you.
I think we've all introduced ourselves. Yes. Is she coming in, or should we request Shakti or somebody to take on? She's coming in. All right, we'll wait. Course. We can't steal her thunder.
No, yes, of course. So yeah, she's joining in back. I just got a message. So Mr. Abhishek is here. So meanwhile, I'll add him to the spotlight.
I think
so that yes.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I think by the time Medini joins, right, and would just want to understand, the objective, like the CRM, like have you actually done automations that we just saw? I mean, like all the aspect of like marketing automation, SFA, and on the service side. I mean, I'm sure you guys are veteran from that side, so it would be nice to hear from you, like what kind of automation that you're looking at next, right? Like, because today we see that more and more companies are coming with AI and ML-less solutions which sit on top of these CRMs, right, and then make a lot of things easier, right? So have you been able to work with any such third party, or you're still working with internal built solutions on top of your CRMs?
Yeah. So should I go, Abhishek? Or?
Sure, Atul.
Yeah. So just 30 seconds on perspective of the industry that I come from, which is pharma. These sort of systems are very, very important and critical for us. Like also, I understand in the insurance vertical, where we have an extremely widespread, remote, dispersed, unsupervised workforce in terms of medical representatives. And they, therefore, what they're doing on the ground, you do need systems in place to actually see what's happening. It's not just about, the results and the billing that happens every day and at the end of the month, but you also need to see what the efforts are. What are they actually doing with their customers, the doctors in our case? And therefore, the importance of a very, very end-to-end, a full looped, may I call it, CRM system. So most companies in the Indian pharma had initially started off with having little, mobile applications to record field efforts. Going along that, then they started building in, the MIS for the S&D and stuff like that. Gradually, they went on to having iPads where they could detail to the doctors. All that, as we went along, got merged. But yes, what you spoke of in terms of AI and ML, these are things, and I'm now talking only about the domestic sales and marketing. These things, there are barely a couple of companies in the Indian pharma space who have incorporated them, but we are well aware that that is tomorrow. And we are in the processes. In fact, sorry, it's not tomorrow. It had to be here today. And therefore, we've missed the red bus, really. But red bus being red bus, we'll certainly catch it. And I'm sure with Satish and his customer experience portfolio, he will ensure that companies like us get onto the red bus sooner than later. So that's it. And I can see Medini in here.
Yes, all this automation, and when power goes off, just for that 1 minute, internet still drops off. So kudos to that. Okay, I'm so sorry. I just lost you guys there. But guys, very quickly, Shakti actually has a very interesting story that I'd like to kick this off with. We talk about disruptive technology as if it is something that is magically created, when in fact, disruptive technology is technology that exists around you, just probably a new way of looking at it or a new implementation. Do you want to tell us about that little story of yours?
Just to tell you, technology is always available. The biggest challenge in corporations is the human aspect. I can narrate you in a real life story which has happened with me. As a CMO of a large organization with a 4,000 people base, when I had to implement this CRM, which I'm talking about a few years back, the challenges we went by. We had a global multinational company as our technical partner to roll out, so you can understand. So the best of the expertise was available. The best of the product was available. I'm talking about a Fortune 500 company like Oracle, providing their CRM, and giving me even bid management system. But then the whole organization getting aligned, the culture getting aligned to it, and I had to fight tooth and nail. With all due respect, coming from the Salesforce side, the Salesforce became the biggest barrier, because salesmen have a psyche. They feel the customer points are mere baap ki hai. So that type of a feeling. So they don't want to divulge that. I'm using this crude form because to bring that sentiment out, because that was really a pain, and sales guys are not really letting it out. Then you won't believe that I had to create a culture where I said there is an inbound sales department, which was created. So I had to involve HR to bring that change. And then inbound sales team was managing all offers. And then we started generating database, and all that really got into function. So what I want to tell you, it looks very easy, looks very jazzy. You have data, you can do AI, ML, other stuff. But to get the pool of data, to get that information itself is a big change in organizations. And that's really where the challenges come into play. And there is where the maturity of the leaders and how you handle it becomes paramount. So I can tell you a live example which has happened in a billion-dollar company which I was heading as a CMO a few years back. So this is the transition which I did.
Right. No, you used a good word. I mean, so basically you're saying it's about adoption and adaptation of technology, right? Ajesh, you're from the insurance sector. I mean, a sector which we wouldn't normally associate with automation, being technology friendly or open to change, right? But over the last few years, how much of a difference have you seen? How many processes of automation have been brought in to simplify everyone's life?
Okay, first of all, I guess the number of use cases currently what insurance company brings in is much more than, we can't even think of. So what I want to bring in the point is CRM. Today we cannot consider CRM as a ticketing tool. It is much more powerful than just capturing an interaction of customer. Okay, so what I want to bring in is the data part, the data analytics. I'll give you an example, of what we did in Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. So what we did is we leveraged on last 20 years data, top data with AI and photogrammetry. And what we did is, we are settling motor insurance claims up to a certain limit in less than 20 minutes. So there is a lot of algorithms, it detects customers' geolocation and then gives a quote. If customer agrees, yes, the claim gets settled in 20 minutes. Just imagine, so what I want to bring in is, the predictive model. So we have a lot of data in CRM, but if you don't use, Abhishek talked about AIML, Atul talked about AIML, all this, the center point is CRM. You can get data out of it. And what you do then getting into the automation, the digitalization, and bring in an outside-in approach. You first understand what is your, customer psyche, customer behavior, what is customer's persona, and then build automation and, all the digitalization and automation and give it to customer. Otherwise, what happens is that the uptake of those automation will not be much. unless you understand what customer needs. And this data actually comes out of the CRM.
Right.
So that is something which I want to just share with the entire team.
No, and I think when we talk about Redbus as well, that's exactly what was brought up, right? How technology can be deployed to make life easier. Satish, you had an interesting story to share there. Have we lost Satish?
I think Satish dropped out.
Yeah, he dropped out.
Looks like Satish dropped out. No worries. Okay, let's go to Nizam then. Nizam, you had an interesting story about how automation, CRM, data, big data analytics is now has a huge role in the pharma tech space, right? Would you like to elaborate on that and tell us how there's been a huge sea of change in the last couple of years with respect to, like Ajesh said, how the data is interpreted? We have Nizam. Nizam, you're on mute, unfortunately.
So previously, like, 2 years back when I started, we were just doing all sort of, we were thinking like, we would this stuff, then we will get benefited, we will do this stuff, we will get benefited. But then on deeply thought, on the consulting part, one of my friend, 2 years back, we started using the CRM, which was very important to understand the customer cycle. So which we have benefited in that way. We have increased the revenue, decreased the overhead, which is a two-way to improve the company financial status, increase the revenue or decrease the expenditure. Secondly, the most important part was today's world, every business is dependent on sale of product or services. So customer satisfaction plays very important role for our parts. So whenever the customer were purchasing our services or product from our side, so the automation email, what we were sending to customers, we used to understand, we used to elaborate on that part, how the customer is satisfied through a rating part, today's dissatisfaction part, and which was, one dedicated resource was appointed to take care of the customer. So we have seen, like previously 2 years back, when the customer retention was only 20%, because of using the CRM has gone to almost 45 to 50%. So there was a drastic positive changes in our business. Secondly, which helped us on the marketing optimization as well. So with the CRM, we know the customer who is a lapsed customer who has not purchased the product from last 1 year, from last 6 months or 3 months, something, and who is a high value customer for us. So that funnel, what we have created, and there was a separate, again, a separate resource, which was only tapping to this kind of high resource customer. So it was purely selling the upselling part from our side. It was purely taking care of the suggestions, queries, any kind of, they are facing a dissatisfaction part. We are making them understandable, and the retention was happening. Thirdly, it was increase the collaboration and coordination among the team members, Now what happened when you run an organization and there are different people with a different thought process. Rightly said by Mr. Atul, like, it happens many times, like, the team are not aligned, a team are not, collaborating, and with that way, when we have the review every week, that is, we always take our weekly review. So we understand where we are lacking and where there is a chances of improvement. So that again gives us a great direction, where we have to improve ourselves to bring the company or to grow on a faster pace. Plus, it also helps us out in improving the data insights and the analytics again. So with this kind of benefits, I purely agree, like CRM, yes, it's a very important part of the core business. And definitely if it's automation, so many things are, lined up. I mean to say, we can do much better way and use the resources in a much beautiful manner so that the business can be increased in that way. So definitely I agree and align, like the CRM is become the integral part. Like we have the HR department or the operation department. So there is now a CRM department in my organization, where about the people are, purely working on that. And that is giving a pure insight as well. Geographically wise, you can work upon, we're working on territory wise, because different states have different culture, because I'm giving on a very deep thought how we can, give the maximum benefit to the customers, and they should buy the services from our side. So with this kind of 5-6 benefits, which we have implemented, definitely it has given a company a great boost, whereabout the company has grown from 10x to 30 to 40x in that way. So which has given us a more elaborated part, and rightly, I'm very optimistic on that part. The more automation CRM will come, definitely I'll be opting for that, which will improve the scale of the business scalability.
Right. Yeah. So all of you so far have, spoken about the same thing, that automation in CRM leads to data, insight, analytics that makes life more predictable, so as to speak, right? I think we have Satish back online with us. Satish, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Satish.
Sorry for the interruption.
Okay. So Satish, yes, you were telling us how automation, CRM automation in Redbus has been deployed to make life easier and more predictable for the end users. Would you like to shed some light on that, please?
Sure. So I think purely from an internet company, right? This digital age, as serving customers, we are expected to have all the customer information. And so we invested quite early in terms of having a great CRM system. But couple of years back, what we were looking at is not just us. We deal with about 2,500 to 3,000 bus operators across the country. Maybe I'm just talking about India to this context now. Now, how do we really empower them? How do we really make those stakeholders have the right set of information? So what we started building up is what you call, maybe you can put it in loose words as seller CRM, but what we developed a homegrown tool to build the entire way in which how the entire ecosystem can benefit out of the information that we have, right? So what we built is, obviously, when we work with bus operators, they are in the ground, they are having a lot of visibility to the customers, they know which customers' preference are, what are changes happening in the ground. So we really created a backward flow. We started providing information of the customers, of their customers, in the form of information, in form of, let's say, data analytics in different facets, right? You have sales, you have, let's say, how do you run offers? How do you price a certain journey? What kind of, let's say, feedback that you have about the crew, right? Instant feedback. This is not a feedback while somebody travels and you get a feedback after 6 days, but it's about how instantly you get it. And we also look at how do we share the customer concerns to them on a real-time basis, how the information can flow to them, which could really help them in improving their services, which otherwise they would have not had the ability to, invest and look at the data in a form and shape that could really give a lot of insights. So that is where we started building it up over the last 2 years in terms of providing this information to a whole lot of, let's say, the ecosystem, which started believing the information, which otherwise no one would have, let's say, a system of information to take action upon. So that has really, I would say, built a lot of trust in the system, a lot of, let's say, empowerment to them to make decisions, and even their business growth could also be largely related to how do they see information from this and take it upon. So that's something that is has really worked. I would not say it has reached its end state. It's a journey that we started 2 years before and progressing significantly across in an as diverse country like India, where you have different expectations, customers, different, let's say, experiences that we can across the road travel. Right.
Okay. So Atul, I'd like to dig into your little 4G background for a minute now and just try to understand. 4G background when we talk about CRM, does something like that exist at all? If I were to ask you as a complete novice?
See, I'd say CLM exists because the entire life cycle is there. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, everything that you do is recorded. Every action that you do is recorded. And we have multiple scenarios that we work on, multiple terrains, multiple operational roles. And therefore, each and every specific thing, maybe it could be an operation in offense, it could be an operation in defense, it could be an operation in jungles, it could be an operation in counterinsurgency, it could be desert warfare, it could be high altitude warfare. So therefore, if there is such amount of complexity, and the fact of the matter is the same individual is there who actually goes across all these things in his career. It's not that I'm trained only to fight in the jungles and I'll only remain in the jungles. And therefore, the importance of capturing everything that this guy is all about. So there is a central repository of all information of everything that that guy does. So you know what his competence is. He may be great as a junior leader in the jungles, And therefore, when he becomes a general, it may make sense to put him up at the Director General of Military Operations. Basis that knowledge that you have that this individual was indeed effective over there on the ground, and therefore knowing the finer nuances of operational issues, he will be able to strategically put things in place. So yes, in a very, very broad sense, there is a CRM, CLM in place, but not as specific as what we have in corporate, really.
Right. So if I were to ask you a very apples to oranges comparison between the two, a CLM and a CRM, like you had, just because I want to understand the evolution of it per se. How would you say the evolution of CRM per se?
In the forces?
No, now with your career, with your corporate career.
My current
corporate career, yeah.
Yeah, so like I was saying when we lost you, thanks to the power outage that you had, I'm from the pharma industry, and it's really difficult here because you have a dispersed workforce. You have a largely unsupervised workforce, and therefore whatever they do, you need to sort of monitor to get a sense of what's happening. So when we talk about evolution, initially it was all just reports, telephonic reports, people compiling things. Then people came in about with mobile applications where you could record each and every little thing. After which, then there was dovetailing of various aspects, whether it's sales and market, sales data, distribution data, stochastic data, or subsequently, what are you actually detailing to the doctor in the chambers of the doctor? Are you focusing on your number one priority brand or not? And then, like one of the subheads we had in today's talk is, linking in incentivization also to that. So he has a ready reckoner available to him today that yes, I have gone to this doctor, I have given my number one priority brand, I've detailed it, I've got prescriptions, I've got an order, I've got secondary sales, I've got primary sales. Yeah, so my sales have reached here, and therefore, basis this sales, I have, as on today, earned so much of incentive.
Absolutely.
So, the loop actually finishes not with a sale, but when the incentive gets into the pocket of that salesman. That's the way I look at it. And therefore, the entire life cycle has to be not automated, but it has to be integrated, collaborated, all the jargon that you can think of, so that that little fellow who's a 23-year-old smart boy wearing a tie, entering the chamber of a doctor, confidently speaking to a guy who's a million times more qualified than he is confident enough, is speaking to that doctor, and the minute he steps out, he knows everything is cranked in, and I can buy my young sister an iPhone cover today.
Right.
I mean, so that, in my view, may sound a little dramatic, but is the entire loop of the CLM getting closed? Really?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what we do at Compass. In fact, if I were just to add, one of you, I can't remember who said that what CRM does is it doesn't just react, it also predicts, right? It tells you more than what customers want. And that's how Abhishek conceived Compass. All the sales managers that we've spoken to so far have told us incentives have to happen on Excel sheets. That's the way of the world, and that's how they have to be. They have to be tedious, they have to be time consuming, and invariably they have to be wrong. So when we pitch Compass to them and say, hey, you can automate the entire process, right from program creation to dispersal of the right error-free incentive, it blows their mind because they didn't ask for such a thing. They didn't know something like this could be possible, but we figured it out because we were listening to the pulse of the audience. Exactly. Wonderful. So I think Ekta is asking if anyone has some questions.
In fact, many I would want to add to that.
Yes, please.
Ajesh mentioned initially, I think Ajesh only mentioned that insurance has the wide variety of use cases that we have seen, where you can have put this automation to work this, and also I would agree to Atul initially because he mentioned that the people like MRs and the agents in insurance and MRs into medical field, right? These are the people for whom we haven't seen a lot of CRM, or we have put technology solution that companies have created, right? And hence to track them, to track their performance, to track their numbers, it becomes really challenging. And most of the companies, even in insurance today, right, we work with almost name any insurance company that those are our customer today, right? And they come to the same problem, saying that we do not have a trackable solution for these agents specifically, right? The agents that they are working for them, right? And hence that becomes a good use case for us. And we have seen that across the organizations, right? We have different programs that they tend to run, and hence the product or the tech solution that we talk about, the automation that we talk about, right? It has to have a omnichannel presence, and it has to be a very democratic solution. It cannot be just one fit all solution. It cannot be like that, right? And we have seen this industry together where, the MRs or the agents, they are coming together. They are very, very interested in adopting these solutions because this is about money. This is about incentive. This is about their thing that can bring them closer to the organization they are working for, right? They specifically, they classify as gig workforce, right? And because they are not directly associated with the companies, right? And hence, I think if something of this sort can be clubbed together with the CRMs of the companies, right? Then it projects a complete solution for all these people, even for the company and for the for the users like agents, MRs.
The disengaged, scattered workforce.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So we've got a question.
Oh, I take umbrage to disengaged. They're very well engaged. They may be scattered, scarcely supervised, but I don't think they would be disengaged.
So I think in insurance, they are more disengaged.
So Atul, I think they're not disengaged, but I think churn, if you look, right, churn ratio is pretty high.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you look at that, churn is pretty high. That's what we observed when we took this solution. And that's
definitely
the biggest problem statement, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a question, how CRM can help a B2B model? What are activities what are the activities we can design with the CRM system? Does anyone want to take that up?
Say B2B, there is a very, very unique value which CRM offers. Because I can tell you on B2B per se, when you look at essentially a process which is more complex because you have multiple people in decision making. It's a process which is more time consuming. The sales cycles are large, 6 months to a year plus more than a year. If you have to sell an aircraft, it's a 6-year cycle. So these type of projects, when you're working with complex multiple teams, analyzing each buyer persona, CRM becomes very critical. If somebody is doing truly the data gathering right, this is like what Atul was explaining in a 4G parallels, understanding your terrain right and then attacking as a real hunter. So all that comes out beyond the same. The second big thing which the sales leader gets to know. Because when I was a sales leader with American Fortune 500 companies, I used to follow certain tricks of Siebel. We had Siebel CRMs with AT&T and those companies where I was there. So those tools used to help me analyze even the sales guy's skill. Who is good at prospecting, who is good at closure, who takes it in the chase up phase, right, manages the relationship, right. So it gives out the whole 360-degree view on the whole thing. So that's what we can tell you if somebody was asking on how does it help in B2B. And B2B, trust me, the sales win ratio is drastically low compared to B2C. B2C, if you have built a brand, counter पे माल है वो chocolate बिक जाएगी. I call it bloody chocolate sales. You are just available at the counter and the brand has got a pull. You make it happen. That's done. So it's no great shakes. B2B is very different. And here the probability rates of winning are very, very low. So that's one. Because however smart you may be, there are 8 more bidders in the race who are following the same tricks of the trade. So you need to be very, very sensitive and aware of the whole battlefield, right? Then only you can make it and understand with the right counter strategy so that the other 7 can't do what you are doing there, right? So all that is helpful, insightful. So your win probability will also go up. And when the win probability goes up, when you're talking about B2B, obviously these are high ticket sales. So can make or mar the sales guy's career, and the organization's doom can also happen if you don't have such type of tools. So any day, this is paramount and this is needed. So there is no two ways and denying out there. Plus this gives you legacy history, create customer delight, all that you will get to know. You will have all that history available with you. Hope this answers and clarifies, because somebody had a doubt. So I want to be very clear. B2B, it makes a lot of sense.
Just to add to what Shakti said, right? I think the most important aspect to any business, whether it's a B2C or B2B, is the data, right? If as an organization, if as a management, if you're not privy of the data, where your business is going, if you're not having the overall analytics of how various departments, how various things are performing, right? Then I think you're losing a lot of other aspects, right? On your profitability, on your future prospects, and how to make things better at your organization, right? And these CRMs actually enable you to do that, not just on the sales cycle, but also at the effectiveness of certain processes that you're putting into your organization. Those could be refined using these CRMs. And hence, these CRMs are very, very important even for B2B, right? So I understand that B2B, like the sales cycle are pretty large, right? It could be 3 to 6 months, right? I mean, depending upon the kind of organization you're selling to. But the process, the entire process that you go through, right? In that, I think the people, the process, the tech, the the stickiness with the customer, it matters, and everything can be enabled using a CRM, and that is why it's very important.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Sachin has asked, can you elaborate how to use CRMs for hospitals, how they can help? Nizam or Atul, you want to just take a stab at it?
Yeah, I don't know, Nizam, otherwise I could just share a thought or two. See, at the end of the day, any CRM, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is all about the customer experience, what you have to do with the customer. I can give you a couple of examples. I think it's Johns Hopkins Hospital, where they have leveraged AI to give inputs to their patients who are waiting. Let's say if, today hospitals are nothing but another corporate, they put a barcode on you and you've got to go from, test to test to test. So they have alerts to tell you so that you have less waiting time outside a particular test. Let's say you have to go for an MRI. Right. He'll tell you straight away, you have, in 8 minutes, your thing is coming. In the meanwhile, you can go there. They've also worked out, and this is very simple, in terms of ambulance response time, basis, of course, traffic and this, that, and the other. So AI has actually cranked in various ways and means to improve the customer experience within hospitals. But yes, it could go far beyond that also. These were a couple of examples that I read off a few months back, and I thought it is extremely relevant as far as customer experience is concerned. And CRMs are not just about data of the workforce, really speaking, but what is finally going to happen for that business. That's the way I look at it. Of course, the experts on CRM, Abhishek, maybe can throw a point or two, or anybody else really.
So Nizam, I think, Nizam, you're on mute.
I think from my perspective, using CRM in healthcare, especially in hospital industry, increase the effectiveness, patient outreach, and improves efficiency through automated workflows across multiple processes what each hospital has. So I have a couple of hospitals who are using the CRM. They know the patient's data, whether it's a new patient or the existing patient, what they have, taken the healthcare services in a very cost-effective way, whether it's the regular patients in a family type, because healthcare is a very, very delicate industry in that way. So once you like one particular, like you have a family doctor, you have a family hospital type as well. So people always prefer to like, okay, this happened, I go to this hospital only unless and until the known hospital or known doctor tell you to consult with any other one. So that data-driven, the CRM help every aspect of without compromising the quality of healthcare services delivered to the patients. That CRM really help for the hospitals, like how they are progressing further and the number of patients that is flowing to their hospitals. So that plays very important role. Then the other parts come down, whether we are using the high-tech technology like AI or machine learning in hospitals. But yes, CRM is integral part, taking out the small aspect as well, the billing part, the patient history, how they are doing well. Then there is a feedback call and there is a courtesy call as well, where most of the hospitals are doing to their patients. So that is making the customer relationship management very well. If any of the territory, what you consult, like within a 10-kilometer territory in any state, you will find out minimum 5 to 10 hospitals, known hospitals who are certified hospitals. And every hospital required, whether there is a lax kind of, the population, they require the patient should come to them for the best services. And every hospital wants their brand to be known by any of the known or unknown person, because healthcare is a very damn expensive, if you think in that way, or inexpensive industry. So people always prefer like, main yahan jaunga to mere paise thode bach jayenge, something on those lines, and I can get the best services. Ultimately, everybody wants to get cured for their disease. Yeah. So CRM is playing a very, very crucial role nowadays in hospital industry, and most of the hospital, whether it's 15 bed hospital or whether 150 bed hospital, everyone now is using the CRM, and which is giving them a desired positive result, in the outflow of the patients to the hospital.
Right.
So just to add to those points and not just limiting to the process inside the hospital, you can also use CRM for the patient engagement models, right? For example, what stops you to, send a onboarding form to patient before he has come to the hospital, right? I mean, to save the time, to save the processing stuff,
Yes.
for the patients at the hospital. Also, let's say there are, the hospitalization stuffs are involved, right? So the post-hospitalization and pre-hospitalization, right? There are a lot of engagement stuff that you can do using this CRM stuff. For example, you can do a lot of informative, blast emails saying that okay, these are the things that you can take it up and you can take care of things, right? And post the hospitalization, you can be in touch with your patient by sending some 5-10 automated emails using a CRM based on their traits, right? So you can do multiple things using these CRMs, and I think the scope is huge, and I think tech is enhancing in that area.
If we have a time, sorry, yes, Satish, you can go ahead.
No, just to add, I think points from Atul and Nizam. I think if you'd seen the experience of new health age apps, right?
Yeah.
You do an online consultation. The way they engage, obviously, physically they are not there. They do send us your alert on app, assuming there is a prescription there in terms of what medicines. They send an alert to you. You need to have this medicines, and possibly you have a let's say you have a feedback, possibly you can immediately do. Whereas unlike a traditional hospital where you need to reach out to somebody to share, what should I do now? This is what it is. This is how I think, in line to what Abhishek was saying, the post-consultation engagement is very critical, and it also helps to bring in effectiveness in the what you suggest as medication.
Yes.
So I just wanted to share one use case, maybe not directly to hospital, but we have a process where we have RMs at hospitals, certain hospitals. Okay, think of a patient, or the family members. When someone is admitting, their first headache is that should I manage my, the family member, or should I go and take care of the billing? It's a big process. So what we do is that we have a RM concept where the RM tells the customer, you take care of your patient, the worries will be of your billing worries will be taken care by us. Okay, so that's how we engage with the customer. So from the time they come in till they, discharge, the patient discharge. So it is the RM who takes care of everything, and that is where the RM engages with the company, the company and the hospital through a CRM, where they get all the details. They keep on informing the patient's relative proactively about everything. And to tell you, we have the best NPS across our value chain for this process. Okay, and all this happens through CRM, because the patient as well as the RM is aware of each and every moment from one department. If any test has to be done, if any depending on the sum assured, whether the approval limit has to be increased, or a special approval has to be taken. So the RM does that, and the patient and the relatives are free just to take care of their health as well as their treatment.
Wonderful. Imagine if you tied in incentives to that, then the RMs would be that much more driven and motivated. Absolutely. So I think, Ekta, are we almost out of time? Should we just get some closing thoughts? Or
just would like to ask audience, like if somebody would want to direct a question directly. Yeah. So anyone who would want to have a question with the panel speakers, will be happy to take it from you guys as well. Or if anybody would want to share some thoughts as well.
Seem to have a very shy audience today.
That's why people are asking in the chat box. So anyone who would want to share their thoughts or have a question with our speakers?
Okay, doesn't look like it.
No problem. So I think, Medani, we can have a final thoughts from all the speakers. And perfect. Meanwhile, somebody might put a question on the chat box.
Perfect. Okay, so very quickly, if I were to summarize what we've talked about, CRM has always existed. It is the most critical part of every business. It will and it has and will always be the most crucial. However, there are tons of automations that are brought in, that can be brought into different stages of a CRM to suit your business, that can be tailor-made to your end consumers, and that can help make more sense of all that data that you've just been filling in, right? I like what Ajay said, which is CRM is more than just a ticketing tool. It has gone above and beyond that. There is AI involved. There is predictive analysis. There is all of that woven in. And when interpreted and used correctly, automation in CRM is a complete game changer. And then when we add in the incentive automation bit, which is what Abhishek talked about, it ties in, you know, what your teams are doing, how they are faring. They can view their incentives, and the entire process becomes very streamlined. Let's just get some parting thoughts now. Maybe Abhishek, you can close it and we can start from the rest. Ajesh, over to you.
Yeah. So what I want to leave one food for thought is optimizing the CRM. You know, I will quote an example. You know, we have the best of smartphones. What we, you know, iPhone to Samsung to all those, you know, great smartphones. But are we optimizing it? How much do we use? You know, how much features do we use? Maybe 30-40% max. The one who uses 70 plus is actually getting the real value for money. Okay, that is what I would also tell everyone, or rather request everyone, is to optimize the CRM. Don't consider CRM as just capturing the interactions. You know, for that you don't need to invest so much. You know, it can be done through a homegrown CRM. But if you really want to have a value for money, please, you know, optimize your CRM, take the best use out of it, not just, you know, the capturing of interactions. Another thing is that, you know, while doing this, you know, what you do is you move from addressing customers' stated needs to unstated needs. Okay. That is because stated needs is something which is, you have no choice, but you have to address. But the day you move from moving to the unstated needs, that is where you become more proactive rather than reactive. So that's from my end.
Nizam? Hello? Nizam, can you hear me?
So, Nidhin, your voice was a little low.
Sorry,
yeah, so
hi.
Nizam,
can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Nizam, over to you.
So, rightly said by Ajesh, yes, we have to optimize and proactively use the CRM, because this is one of the best tools. Apart from whatever we are doing, the marketing, digital marketing, whatever, CRM plays very important role for every business. And I think if we use it very, very proactively, that will be a boon for any business, whether it's a small, medium enterprise or a larger Fortune company, depend on that. But yes, the customer journey is understandable, you know, with these kind of tools, and everyone should use this on a maximum level and drive for driving their business on a positive growth.
Satish?
Yeah. My thoughts around that same, what Ajit and Ajesh and Nizam was talking about. But largely, I think the way forward, if you look at, I think one is, I think we talked about reactive, but the bigger chunk, right? People who reach us are just 1/30th of what the actual issues, whom you call as silent sufferers, right? As a terminology. So I think CRM should be largely used from that perspective in terms of uncovering those, let's say, facts which hid around under the sea, right? A sea of data that is available, and largely work with stakeholders, right? I give you an example of how it can be used to work with the ecosystem that you are, and not just about your customers, how you can build the entire ecosystem better, empower them with decisions which currently you may not be able to just share with just a piece of information over a mail, but you have loads of data that can be nicely put together and you can share, or you can automate that flow on a constant basis to a respective set of folks who can really add value to it. So those are two parting thoughts from my end.
Wonderful. And we have Shakti and then Atul.
See, my thought has been very clear. CRM is very critical for the business. One, as everybody agreed on the panel, the data. So data, not just data, it's an insight tool. So that gives out all the insights, and there is where this creates a lot of value for everyone in the organization, be the organization or Satish rightly said, the ecosystem. So this value is for this tool is very critical.
Atul, anything different?
Yeah.
Or yes, data.
No, not data. I think I just sent out a message to business leaders, to sales and marketing heads, to people who head commercial functions, who may be on this call, or even business excellence teams. The possibilities of CRM are limitless. They are only limited by your own imagination. The technical guy will do what he has to do to deliver what you want get that platform to do. There are people like Compass AI, you just tell them that this needs to be done and I want this insight. They will create it for you. So my message to these senior leaders is keep your minds open, let your imagination run wild, give it to them. Compass AI, and they've not paid me for saying this. Let me make that very clear. But maybe they'll send me a nice gift after this, but that's on the lighter side. We as business leaders need to open our minds to the possibilities that are limitless, and then conceptualize it, contextualize it, and get them going on the CRM. Automatically, business numbers will enhance. That's my message.
Abhishek, over to you. It's a logical flow. Over to you, and then we can wrap this up.
Yeah, thanks, Atul. I think we have got evangelist in the form of Atul today, and I owe you at least one dinner. So and definitely we'll look forward to have a dinner with you. In fact, all of you. So on a closing note, I think what we have seen, and if you look at the industry as well, right, there are a lot of CRMs available in the market, right. This is very important for us to understand which CRM is good for my need, right? There are multiple CRMs with, multiple needs, right? Because today, when you're talking about too much data analytics and this thing, right? Then the next term comes as personalization, right? Hyper personalization and personalization. So everything is, if you look at one side of CRM, one CRM will talk about that we are catered towards, or we are highly configured for edtech kind of companies, right? Then one CRM would come and they would say that we are very, very highly capable to cater to the companies like who are into travel and tourism. Then one CRM would come for B2B, right? So there are multiple CRMs and there are multiple data available in the market. It's very important for us to understand our business needs and then map our business needs in the right kind of CRM that we need. Because the moment you go abroad and you choose a wrong CRM, you will end up in a loop, right? And this happens. Most of people, it happens, right? They choose one CRM, they are not happy. They go to another CRM, they are still not happy. Then they keep tumbling on multiple CRMs until they find the right business need getting satisfied with the right kind of CRM. And that's why there are so many CRMs in the market. So on the closing note, I would just like to say that there are a lot of automation available. People like us, Compass AI, doing a lot of things on top of it. But at the crux of it is CRM, and the right CRM is something that you should be choosing based on your business need, right? And then you should mix up with right kind of technology solution like Compass AI, which does for incentive. You could also do a lot of for marketing automation, Salesforce automation on top of this. So there are a lot of other solutions out there. So look forward to have this automated solution, because these not only solve your just don't look at the kind of investment you're doing. There's also a lot of ROI associated with that, right? They tend to increase your performance. They tend to increase your overall revenue in terms of what you're going to realize, right? Because you're only looking at, okay, if I'm going to put these kind of systems, I'm going to end up spending more. But you also have to look into what is the bandwidth of people you're saving in terms of resource, plus what is the kind of revenue that you're able to get on a shorter period of time. That the revenue that you could have got in 2 to 3 months, you can get in 1 month, right? So there are multiple analyses that you need to do based on this, and that is where you need to arrive at the right CRM. So with this, I think we would like to end this discussion from my side. Over to you, Medni. I think thank you to everyone.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Abhishek.
Yeah. So on behalf of Brinalytics and our partner Compass AI, I would like to thank all our thought leaders and of course Medni and Abhishek for being here and sharing your thoughts, and all the thought leaders. Also not missing a lovely audience for taking out your precious time, on Friday afternoon and being with us. I understand it's Diwali and we have spoken to a lot of sales people and the kind of pressure they're going in the last week of October. I completely understand that, but still a lot of people have managed to join. So thank you everyone from Brinalytics and Compass AI. We would be connecting with you and sharing the video with you again. And also we would be happy to connect you with Compass AI for one-on-one brainstorm session if you want if you're keen to know more about, their solutions. So yes, thank you again, and please stay safe and take care, everyone.
Have a good evening, guys.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.